Hello everybody, I am Perfectly Penguin and welcome back to another Scratch tutorial. Now, in our last Scratch tutorial with names, we made a random name generator, and I'm using that today to make a draft class generator. There are drafts in all sorts of sports, like NBA, NFL, NHL, and all the other sports. So we're going to be making one in Scratch. Now, I'm going to be making a list here, and I'm going to call it positions. Now, I'm going to be using the positions in football. So, obviously, I'm just going to have to add every single position that there is. So, I'm going to add QB, and then I'm going to add all the others. So now that I've got that done, we're going to go over to the next section, which is we're going to have to edit over here. So right now we have another list, which is the positions, and basically all I have so far is I just have names here. I have like 36 last names and about maybe seven more first names. But so this is the main script, and this is all we had from last time, and this is a very important part. This is just the name generator. So this is really what you need. Then we're going to go, and this is where we're going to make it into a draft generator. So now make another list, and we are going to make it called overall, and I'm just going to make that OVR. And well, this is going to be used to figure out the overalls of all the people in the draft. So now let's actually make the names a little bit smaller. Let's bring overall to right here, and then also make sure to show the positions list, and we're going to put that right here. Now this is going to be like kind of like the draft board, and this is where the people in the draft are going to be. So let's go ahead and start making the draft part. So now what we're going to do is we are going to make it where it selects a name. Yeah, which is what we already have. And now what we need to do is, it's still in this repeat 10 section. We need to go ahead and we need to say add blank to not names but to overall. And well, since this is, we can change this, but let's just make it where there are 10 people in this first generation. And now why I have 10 people is because as the generation goes on and on, the people are not going to be as good. Now, what we can do is we can go ahead and pick random blank to blank and overall. Now, obviously, you're not going to have people coming out of college who are 99 overalls. They're not going to be too good. So I'm just going to say let's make it about the best is 85 maybe. And then for the top draft round, we're just going to have it where the worst is 79. So then we have that, and now we also have to make it where we add positions. So we're actually going to go ahead and take the positions list. But now what we need to do is, well, see how this is also called positions? Well, this is just a list of all the different positions. So what we're going to do is we are going to make a new list, and we're just going to call it that, which is basically an abbreviation for position. So now we're going to go ahead and we're going to take add blank to position. And now what we're going to do, instead of saying add thing, we're going to take some more list things. And now we're going to do add item. So item right here, we're going to put that in. Now, instead of having it item 1 of names, we're going to put it to where it's positions, not the abbreviation, but positions, which is just the list of the positions. And now, we're not just going to have it pick item 1, we're going to have it pick random item 1, 2. Now, I don't know how many are in, like there's actually 10 positions in this list, but instead of just putting 10 like I have already, because it can change for some people, I like to go ahead and put length of positions. Oops, wrong one. But I like to have that. That way in case I ever change it, I don't have to come back here and edit it again. So now let's go ahead and try this out. So here's what we have so far. And it has the 10 people, and it has their overall. But now look, we need to actually make it where, because this is positions, but we need it to be the abbreviation of positions. So, because this has a length of 10, but that's not all what they are. So what we're going to do is take positions and move it down here. And we're going to have it down here, and we're going to put this up here. Now, as you can see, it has a blank spot up there, which is kind of awkward. Now, let's actually try, let's say, make it again. Well, we only have 10 people, and now we have 10, or 20 actually, we have 10 more, 20 of these. So the reason this is because where it says delete all of names up here at the very start, we still have to have it delete all of overall and all of the abbreviation of positions, so POS. But now, if you have it delete positions, which is not the abbreviation, it will actually ruin the whole thing. Well, I don't know if it will, but it would be like taking all of these out, so it wouldn't have anything to pick from, so that could really mess it up. Now, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to go see how this works. So it is generating, and I'm just going to bring this down real quick so we can see all 10 at a time. And it's looking good. So we have our 10 people right here, and we can see their overalls and we can see their positions. Now, if you'd like to, you actually could make it where certain positions are more likely to be picked, but that's not something I'm going to be going over. Now, this is all the first draft round. So now, see how it says repeat 10 times? We can go ahead and have it repeat more. And however many times you want to do this, you can go ahead and do this. I'm just going to do it one more time. And because there are 32 picks in the first round, I'm just going to have it repeat 22 times. So there are going to be 32 total. Now, if you do this though, I warn you, make sure you have a lot of last names, because if you don't, you could possibly run out of last names or have a lot repeating. But now, since this is the last part of the first round, I'm going to make it where it is 80 to 73 overall. So now, if we go ahead and see this, it generates the draft class, all 32 people. But now, why make a draft class if you actually can't draft? Like, I'm gonna show you how to make it where you can draft it. So now what we're gonna do, I'm just gonna hide positions because we really don't need it. And yes, I see that. Why is there 40? Why are there 40 positions? Well, the reason why is because it's just repeating, because we forgot a very important piece. And on top of it, now you don't have to do this because everything still has an equal amount of chance. It just makes it where the list gets really long. All you gotta do is put delete all of positions. So every time you hit start, it doesn't keep adding, it deletes it and then puts it back in. So now, after doing that, we're going to do the drafting part. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to have to make 3 more lists, okay? So we already have names overall and POS, which is positions, but it's the ones in the draft. So now what we got to do is, we don't have to do this, but I'm just going to push this up a little bit right here. That way we can see, because we're going to have 3 other lists at the bottom, and that's going to be where our roster is. So now, make a list, and say, let's have roster, because we are making a roster names, then also make roster overall and roster position. So now we actually don't want to hide those, but make those all for all sprites. Well, you don't need to make them where it's for this sprite only. But so now I'm going to go ahead and position this right here where it all lines up. But now we're going to get into the coding of this. So we're going to make it where you can pick it. And that's kind of easy, but the hard part of this, which you might need to be cautious about, is how do you make the names delete from the draft board after you draft them and go into your roster? Well, the coding's actually not that hard, and we're going to be going over that right now. So what we're going to do is every time the green flag is clicked, we're going to have it where it will delete all of, not names, but get 3 of these out because we are going to have it delete all of the roster stuff, just to make it where it's not, like I said, piling on, and it deletes every time, so you get a new roster every time. Roster names, roster overall, and roster positions. So now, here's where it comes in to be fun. We're going to have a forever loop now in control. Put that right under there. Now we're going to have it where if we hit any key, you can make this any key, I'm just going to have it be if key space is pressed, then what it's going to do is it's going to have us draft a player. Now, there are other ways to do this, but we can just use the ask and wait. What we're going to do is we're going to say select the number in the list of the person you want to pick. And the reason it's number, it's really important because the number is the person and it's the overall and it is the position. And you can see Henry Luan, the quarterback, is at 85 overall. Now, before I go on, I'm going to tell you that instead of just having names, overall, and position, you can do the exact same thing with other statistics. Like you could have height, you could have weight, you could even have like the different skills like speed, agility, throw power, like stuff like that. And we're not going to do that, but if you just go off of the roster names, the roster overall, and the roster position, you can do that yourself. Now, after it asks to select the number that you want, we're going to have it add and delete. So we're going to take add thing and we're also going to have it delete blank of thing. So now instead of having it names, we're going to have it go to roster names. And instead of, yeah, this is actually going to stay names. So sorry. But now what we're going to do is we're actually going to get this circular one right here, which is item blank or item 1 of names. Now, every time you answer something, it stores it like a variable. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this variable called answer under sensing. And it's under the ask blank and wait. We're going to put this in place of the 1, which means every time you want to draft someone, it'll put the name into your roster and it will take it away from the draft list. Now, be very cautious. The reason I have it where it adds to your roster and then deletes is very important. And it is because if you don't have it, it will actually delete the person you want to draft and then draft someone else without deleting them. So you could actually have someone more than once if you do not do it in this order. It's a very specific order. Now, you'll also want to repeat this for the other stats like overall and positions. Now, instead of using names and roster names, I'll use roster overall, and instead of names, I'll use overall. Now, you'll also do this same thing for position. So, roster, position, position, and position. So, there you go. Let's try it out, okay? So, here we have it. We have our 32 people. If we hit space, and we'll select the person. Now, you obviously can't see what the cat is saying, but still we know what to do. So let's take the linebacker. So number 6, we should get DJ Unitas. We do, and we get all of the stats that he had. Now we could also select again, and we could get Dave Irvin, the quarterback, and we could go ahead, and that's 4, so we'll do that, and we got that. And basically that's what you want to do. Now, like I said, you can have more stats, like you could even have the college they're coming out from, but this is very important. This is the stuff you want, and it's how you should do it. Makes it a lot easier. Now, just to real quick go over the code, this is all the names, this is the positions. Remember, position, the list, is different from its abbreviation list. And now, like I said, you can actually do it where repeat 10, repeat 22, you could have it differently. Like, you don't have to have it where it repeats 22, because as you see in the first 10, the overall is 79 to 85, and then down here it's 73 to 80. Okay, thank you all. I am Perfectly Penguin. I'll see you in the next Scratch tutorial, and I hope this helped you out. Goodbye.